Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. This is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, so delighted to be here as always on Thursdays with Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's mindfulness program. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning, Suzanne. Wonderful to be here with you and with everybody. So nice to see folks joining.
Yeah, it's really nice to be here. Nice way to round off the week.
Yeah.
So today we will start off with a question as we always do. Tara will pose a question to the group, and then we'll have an opportunity to discuss that question. Tara will share a few words with us, and then she'll go ahead and lead us in at least a 12-minute guided meditation practice. So if you go to the bottom of your screen and open up the chat, and in that chat, you'll notice that there's a blue drop-down menu, and you can choose from host and panelists, you can choose everyone. So folks can see your comments as they come in. So with that, Tara, what question do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, so my question is really the same question that I offered yesterday. So for anybody that was on the call yesterday, you'll have another opportunity to think of something else. But it was related to, aspirations that we tend to have for ourselves at the beginning of every new year. And these are, it doesn't have to be anything grand, but oftentimes as we move from one year into the next, it's a time for reflection and thinking about things we want to do or places we want to go or qualities we want to develop in ourselves. And it seems like as the months go by, that sometimes that aspiration wanes a little bit. And so I'm thinking that at the kind of toward the end of every month, just kind of posing this question around, what aspiration do you have for yourself for 2024 that you just want to recommit to? Yeah, so Suzanne has written that up and we'll put it in the chat. And as always, while folks are thinking about how they might respond, Suzanne and I will share some thoughts. And Suzanne, I will start with you and see what feels important to you in 2024.
Yeah, I would probably say purging a little bit, just going through things that aren't needed and sharing them on certain, sharing them with the community. We've got a buy nothing group that we've got in our community. So I'd say that's important to me. And that's something that I feel like has waned a little bit. So I'd like to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah, nice. And I was going to say, even if it hasn't waned, but just calling it forth again. So any of that. This morning I was listening to a really wonderful Dharma teacher named Mark Nunberg, and he's at Common Ground Meditation Center in Minnesota. And one of the questions that was posed was related to how much suffering there is in the world right now, like politically, economically, socially, and the situation in Gaza. I mean, a lot, and feelings of sort of helplessness and what can you do? And I loved his response because he basically was saying, what can you do in your immediate world? Around kindness, extending generosity. And there was something about that. And I think, for me, kindness is so valuable and important, and both toward ourselves and toward others, toward the way we drive or the way we speak to other people as we navigate the world. And just really a remembering about that, a reminder about the value of kindness. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I really like that because I don't think we can remind ourselves too often about that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And he also, the other thing that he was mentioning that is related to this is that, like, when we ourselves say or do something that we ultimately feel is unskillful or not in alignment with our values, and we're surprised by it, to just be kind toward ourselves, that, it's just conditioning. It's tends to be deep conditioning, that, but there can be oh, I've been practicing for so long and this is still coming up for me. And his response again was not to be surprised, that these patterns and habits within us are so very deep, and to let the surprise of that go and just to work going forward. So what can I do now, or what action needs to be taken if I've done something that was not in alignment with my values, and to take that action and just recommit. So I'm thinking like the end of every month of just a recommitting to a value system, or to um, well, there's so many things we can recommit to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of comments
Yeah,
here about connection, reconnecting socially with family,
yeah, yeah, really
spending
nice.
time outdoors, walking, listening to birds, pausing to admire the sounds and the colors.
Mm,
Yeah, connection with others and genuine self-care, being more intentional about how I spend my time and mental energy.
yeah,
Yeah.
really nice. And the ancient root of the word mindfulness is the meaning is to remember, is to remember. And so with all of these things, it's remembering, what's important, what we value, and how we want to show up in the world. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and I like Susan's comment as well, leaving things in the past that belong there.
yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah, yeah, there's only so much rehashing we can do, right? Like, yeah,
right. Really good.
yeah, yeah. And these emotional states are visitors that come and they go. They come and they go. And a remembering of that too, that no thought, emotion, or body sensation is going to be there forever, that there is always a changing nature.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, let's go ahead and move into a practice. And I am going to close with a poem by Wendell Berry called Grace that I think is really beautiful. So rather than the normal kind of blessing that I usually do, I'm going to end with a poem by the wonderful poet Wendell Berry. All right,
Sounds
so
good.
let's go ahead and settle into whatever posture feels like it's going to be most helpful for you. So seated, standing, lying down, and go ahead and make some micro adjustments so that you're holding yourself in a way that is engaged, but soften the body around the upright, engaged spine. Eyes, of course, can be open or closed. Taking a moment to bring the mind and the body together. So letting go of what has already happened so far this morning, and even releasing anticipation of what is next. Just allowing yourself to fully arrive. And as part of that, just noticing the physical expression that's happening in your body. So pulsing, vibration, perhaps just simply noticing the points of contact with the back of the body and the surface that you're on. And again, feeling from the inside that point of contact, from the inside extending out. And when you feel ready, take a couple deep breaths as a way to settle in and settle any surface tension, making the exhalation a little bit longer than the inhalation. And maybe just one breath is all you need. Just, see what your body is wanting. I usually suggest a couple, but do one or do three. Then establishing a posture that feels like it's going to work for you this morning. Receiving the physical expression of whatever is being offered. Receptive, open, turning toward what's happening in the body. And let's expand awareness to include sound, the sound in the room or outside of the room. And just making a soft mental note, hearing. And releasing that and bringing awareness back to the whole body. Let's do a sweep through the body, noticing sensations or lack of as we move through, starting actually with the head, the face, the sides, the back, the top. Allow any softening that feels called for. Moving down over the neck, shoulders, arms and hands. Just releasing the arms and hands, resting alongside the body or in the lap. Through the torso, again with the spine that is engaged, but the body softens around the spine. Moving down to the hips and thighs, the knees, the lower legs, and the feet. Again, softening to the degree that you can, yet remaining engaged. So you're finding that way of holding that is not too tight and not too loose. So something right in the middle. And let's find an anchor for the wandering mind, knowing that thoughts will slip in throughout the rest of the practice. It's just the nature of the mind. We're going to make a decision not to follow that narrative that has arisen. So thoughts slip in unnoticed. They then become noticed. There's always a subtle or almost always a subtle contraction in the body. So a bit of softening each time you notice a thought has entered. And by the way, you can pat yourself on the back for the noticing that the thought has arisen. Softening the body, releasing that narrative, and then returning to whatever you're going to use as an anchor. So you could use sound if there is some consistent arising of sound in your background. You could use breath sensation anywhere in the body that you are connecting with the inhalation and the exhalation and the sensations associated with that. You could use the hands resting together or on the thighs, or you could use the connections with the back of the body. So let's just take about a half minute or so to select an anchor and stick with that for the remainder of practice. And settle in with that anchor or whatever you're using to help stabilize and calibrate the mind. Each time you notice a thought slips in, soften the body and return to your anchor. You're actually building the muscle of focus and concentration every time you notice. And that settledness of mind actually helps mindfulness do its job best. So mindfulness works best on a steady platform and allowing us to see our intentions and our motivations with greater clarity, allowing us to see with more clarity what the mind is up to. And noticing where the mind is. Allow the body to soften and returning to your anchor. And again, reconnecting with the anchor that you're using. And just the subtle contraction of the body, you can release and soften and return. And as we bring this meditation to a close, I'm going to ask you to move whatever you're using as an anchor, body sensation or sound, moving the awareness, the anchoring to the words that I'm about to read. The woods is shining this morning, red, gold, and green. The leaves lie on the ground or fall or hang, full of light in the air still. Perfect in its rise and in its fall. It takes the place it has been coming to forever. It has not hastened here or lagged. See how surely it has sought itself, its roots passing lordly through the earth. See how without confusion it is all that it is, and how flawless its grace is. Running or walking, the way is the same. Be still, be still. So as you feel ready, if your eyes were closed, go ahead and open the eyes and take a moment to just reorient to the room, maybe do a little bit of a stretch, look around. And of course, for anybody that needs to drop off, drop off. But we've got about 3 minutes or so to connect with each other, share ideas, resources, anything you want to say about how the practice felt this morning, any book, any app, anything that has been especially helpful to you. Just as a community, we have this wonderful opportunity. So, Suzanne.
Yeah, I love the poem. That's one I haven't heard.
Yeah.
I love Wendell Berry.
Yeah, he is quite remarkable. And, kind of like Mary Oliver, just a keen observer of how nature works and how we are no different from nature in what we observe and what we see. And um, yeah, yeah, they're both so wonderful. And I think in very, very similar ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I love the be still, because I think that we live often lives that are pretty distracted, and I'm not meaning that in a pejorative way, but more just busy. We have busy lives, a lot going on, and sometimes when we sit in practice like this, it's why it can be so hard, because anxiety can arise, or things that are masked by the movement of our lives arise when we're still, and it provides a really good opportunity to tap into what has arisen in the stillness.
Yeah, and it's so true that because of busy lives, it's almost like going from 60 to 0,
Yeah, yeah,
and that can be really hard for
really
people.
hard. And there's a phrase, often that my teachers have used that says, movement masks suffering. And you can think of suffering as it's like a big word, but it could be little, could be little things. Movement masks that. And so when we're still, there's an opportunity for those patterns and those habits to reveal and then to actually work with them. Because they're there anyway. They're always there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So true.
Yeah. Welcome, Melina. I hope I'm
Yeah.
saying your name right. Welcome.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful that you've joined and look forward to seeing you again. For sure.
And the poem was like a description of my property. Oh, yeah.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Well, we will be back on Tuesday. So, Melina, if you have the opportunity to join either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're here at 8:30 all 3 of those days. So
Yeah.
hopefully you can join again. All of you can join again. And Tuesday we'll be here with Greg Tabakian.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful teacher. I mean, I think I have a bias to all of our instructors. They're really fantastic. So Greg's wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you next week. And thank you, Tara.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
All right. See you soon.